The Super Speedway Podcast is a Dream Bigger media production. For news, photos, show notes, and information about advertising on the podcast, visit www.thesuperspeedway.com.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Super Speedway.
Not have meaningless guys in the back wreck. I mean, I don't know what they're doing, crashing with a couple laps to go, multiple laps down. Meaningless. But besides that, all those cautions allowed the guys who took tires and saved their strategy, allowed them to come back up there, and obviously allowed the two to kind of rough us up there at the end. So very unfortunate, but it's what happens sometimes.
Welcome to episode 78 of the Super Speedway Podcast, recorded Thursday, September 13th, 2018. I'm your host, Eric Young. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. Little input from Denny Hamlin after the Brickyard 400 there, James.
Is that 2 weeks in a row now where we've had a Cup Series contender trashing lesser drivers on the intro?
I think so, yeah.
What's going on, guys?
Man, I tell you.
Everybody's so mad.
Yeah.
I understand his frustration, though.
I wanted somebody to be mad after this race, and I guess Denny's the best we're going to get, so.
Well, I feel like Denny's mad after every race.
Well,
so
if you've been running his season.
Yeah, it's not been great.
Yeah, he might be a little annoyed, especially when you're that close to winning.
Right.
But, so we had I'm going to say it, James, because I know you hate it, the Big Machine Vodka 400 at the Brickyard this weekend. Not this weekend, actually, Monday. It was Monday. Had some Monday racing, which totally screwed up our podcast schedule because we were going to record Monday. But it's kind of hard to record when, I don't know if you'd watched the race yet, but I didn't get to watch the race until we'd have been recording.
We had it on at work for a good stretch, so
I can't do that. I can't pay attention to it, and so it might as well not be on.
Yeah, I had to kept taking walks from where I sit to our lunchroom, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, and checking in every so often. I'd go back, so it was good. It worked out good for me.
There you go. So Brad Keselowski goes from not winning any of the crown jewels to winning 2 in a row.
Yeah,
getting the Brickyard 400 win.
I love it.
Yeah. I think I'm cutting you off. What do you got to say, James?
No, I just was going to say we had, I think, what was a couple weeks before Brad won Darlington. We were like, we were kind of talking about the playoff grid and who was going to be good. And we both, I think, dismissed Brad. Yeah. Because he hadn't done anything. I mean, he was consistent, but we didn't think he had enough speed. And all of a sudden, he goes out and wins. He wins Darlington, one of the toughest tracks on the circuit, and then a track where you need a ton of speed in Indianapolis, and he goes out and wins there too. So, kind of flexing his muscle at the right time here.
Yeah, if you're gonna get good in the season, this is about the best time to do it. I mean, certainly it helps to build up some points beforehand, but I mean, Brad's been there. He hasn't been great, but he's been there. And just seemed like he needed to get over that hump, and well, he's over the hump now. It looks like.
Yeah, in a big way. I guess if you're going into the playoffs, this is how you want to. He's peaked at the right time. He jumped all the way to, fourth in points with all these playoff points that he's accrued over the last few weeks. So he leapfrogged Clint Bowyer and everybody else that was kind of in front of him this year, but put himself in a great spot to make it a little bit easier on him in the first couple rounds of the playoffs. He's given himself a nice buffer, so he's got some room. And if we looked at if we would have looked at last year's Final Four at Homestead and now the top 4 entering this year's playoffs, there hasn't been much parity. It's the same 4 guys now.
Right.
Yeah, so we got Truex, Harvick, Kyle Busch, and Brad Keselowski, kind of the top dogs at this point. We finally found, I guess, the answer to the question, though. Who's that 4th guy? Maybe it is Brad.
Yeah, it could be.
Yep.
I know somebody who I am glad I'm not, and that is the guy in charge of brakes for Bubba Wallace.
Oh, yeah.
Two tracks this year that he's had brake problems going into the turn. Went a little bit better for him this weekend in Indianapolis, but then he got pile drove by who the heck hit him? David Starr, was it?
Yeah, David Starr. There was some really 2 years in a row we've had really big crashes at Indy.
Yeah,
a couple of them again this past Monday, and dang, Bubba Wallace. Yeah, he's I know he got out of the car and he kind of got the crowd going with it, but geez, I wouldn't. I agree with you. I wouldn't want to be that guy.
I'll tell you what. I guess let's talk about this, James. What did you think of the 400 as a whole? I mean, what did you think of the race?
I thought the race was good. And I watched it in bits and pieces, but I went back and rewatched. I'd say most of the last stage.
Okay.
Fast forward through a few things. But I thought the racing was fine. That final restart was really good. And I really enjoyed. When you talk about a good race, I think you always kind of lead to, or kind of want to talk about the ending of the race. It means a lot. And that battle between Hamlin and Keselowski, I just thought it was excellent. I mean, they were side drafting, door banging. I mean, that's what you can't ask for more than that.
No, especially at Indy.
Yeah, and we've had some good finishes this year, and for another Indianapolis, another Indianapolis race, and last year I was kind of miffed, about how that race ended, and here or there, but I thought this was a better race than last year, in my opinion, the way it ended.
I do agree with that. I think last year had the excitement and the Wreckfest was entertaining, but it got to the point where it was too much really last year.
Yeah.
I think this year, I honestly think we've had two. It's hard to, because I have to really think back over the history of the Brickyard 400. There's a lot of duds in the middle, but there were some decent ones at the beginning, and I would say I think we've had two of the three best Brickyard 400s that we've ever had in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think the first year is going to rank somewhere in there. Maybe we'll say this year was the best. The first one was maybe second best, and last year maybe the third.
Yeah.
I know there was the one there that Ernie Irvan had the flat tire. That one was pretty decent. I kind of remember enjoying the year that Montoya had his trouble and he was like he was going to win it. I mean, there's been some gems in there, but really it's been a horrible race over the history.
96 was a good one. I actually Instagram's a great tool. I don't know if you stumble across these like classic clips all the time, but
sometimes.
Some of these accounts that I've stumbled across on Instagram, they have these like classic clips, and there was this battle in 96 between Dale Jarrett and Ernie Irvan, both for Robert Yates at the time, and just fantastic two-car battle for the win. And this kind of reminded me a little bit of that. The field was a little closer. It wasn't so spread out, so that made it a little bit more interesting this time around. But
right,
I like when you have to you drop the rag and you've got guys just duking it out here for these last lap shootouts. We don't get them all the time, and we can't ask for them all the time. But when they happen, I mean, Brad kind of showed his his driving ability, but also the speed in those Fords, even the Penske Fords. We can talk about Stewart Haas all the time too, but that battle showed us a lot, and we learned a lot, and just good overall racing. I kind of do feel bad for Denny Hamlin though. He kind of had it in the bag.
I feel kind of like NASCAR said, okay, we ran this all-star package. We're going to maybe run it some this year. And the drivers were like, let's show you what we can do without it.
Yeah.
Because we've really had a good second half of the season this year.
Heck yeah, ever since Chicagoland.
Yes, yeah. Chicago kicked it off, and it's just been excellent. We've had, Kentucky was a dud, and Michigan wasn't great, but for the most part, we've had really good races this second half of the season.
Yeah, NBC really hit a home run with their schedule this year.
And I really hope that that intensity continues and we get that through the playoffs, because we need another playoffs like that. Yeah. Those first couple years of this new format when we had the fights and everything, we need some of that stuff back. We need the excitement back. We need the intensity back. And I think this season has potential to do it. I feel like right now Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick have a lot of respect for each other, but I feel it's just one wrong bump away from derailing.
And they're going to be close.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to be close.
They're going to be battling every week. We're going to see those two up there.
And then what the playoffs will do is they will bring the top guys closer together, but also we've seen the back half of the playoff grid. We've seen those guys make jumps too. So the whole 16-driver grid is going to get tight. Obviously, Alex Bowman's not going to go out there and run like Kyle Busch, but he's going to be better. And these guys are all going to be better. So that, when we're making our cuts from 16 to 12 to 8, it's going to get more and more intense every week. And that's, I think, what I love the most about the playoffs. Is it really works just like a stick and ball sport.
Well, and I'll tell you what too. I it wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be, especially to go from 16 to 12, because we're going to do our brackets later in the show.
Yeah, we are.
16 to 12 was tougher than I thought. There were a couple that weren't so tough. But a couple of them were tough. And I don't know, I feel like 12 to 8 wasn't as tough, but 8 to 4 was tough. And so I don't know.
Picking that final 4 was really hard.
And all it takes is one of those guys that you're going to say, yeah, there's no way. Almirola, he's not getting past the first round. And he gets a win. And now suddenly everything's thrown off, And so it's really interesting. I still love this format. It's so good. I like that part of it, that you can have the consistency. Even this weekend, like I heard a lot of people say, oh, it was a dud. NASCAR didn't get their Game 7 moment with the playoffs. But we did, because there were guys in the running. Ryan Newman was up there at the end. There were guys in the running. It could have changed.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Yes, it went in by points this year. We didn't get that last-minute winner, but you didn't know you weren't going to get it until, I guess, when the white flag flew. When the white flag flew, you knew it's over. I mean, it's going to be one of these couple guys are going to be up front.
Yeah, yep.
I mean, even if Brad blows a tire, he's not going to take the guys out behind him. I mean, what did we have? Jamie McMurray was 7th at that point. So, at that point, you knew that it wasn't going to happen. But, Jamie was up there. Ryan Newman was up there. I mean, there were guys up there that could have thrown a wrench into things. Paul Menard was up there. I mean, hey, he's got a win at Indy, James. A legit win on fuel mileage.
On fuel mileage, yeah. I'm good. I said my piece.
So let's run down the order here a little bit. Eric Jones comes home with a second place finish. He kind of, he wasn't even really there. I didn't really think most of the race, but he pops into second to get to get that place. Hamlin fell to third. Harvick right up there in fourth. Boyer got a fifth top 5 finish. That was good for him.
Boyer and Kurt Busch.
Yeah, we mentioned Jamie Mack. Jamie Mack comes home 7th. He was running really well. We'll talk about it in the news, but Jamie found out before the race he's not coming back. So,
we found out before the race.
He probably has known for a little while.
He probably has known.
Right.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah.
That can be really ticked.
Right. Like I said, Paul Menard comes home with a 9th place finish. Ryan Newman 10th place. Matt Kenseth. James, I know you're a big Matt Kenseth fan.
No, that was a good run for Matt.
He won the second stage. He looked like a contender. They blew it on the last pit stop and ended up, screwing it over for him. But he was a contender to win that race, and for Roush Fenway Racing to be a contender on a track that wasn't a restrictor plate is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, the Fords. I'm not saying this to take anything away from Matt, because that was a good run for him. He led some laps. But the Fords really clustered up that top 15, and to have Matt be part of that with the Stewart-Haas guys and the Penske guys that's a good day for Jack Roush. I know Stenhouse didn't have so much luck, but that showed some signs of improvement from that team.
Yeah, it definitely, and be interesting things coming there too, which we'll talk about a little bit yet in the news.
Yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about today. Again.
a lot of those shoes started to drop again, and now we went from there's no open seats where these guys are going to go to now there's a bunch of open seats.
Yeah, we got some jockeying going on.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. So anybody else we need to single out here?
Just on the downside, I guess Truex. Looked like he was going to be really good and really tough again, and the Brickyard keeps slipping away from him. And his last shot with Furniture Row, he that's kind of a bummer. He had his brakes go out and had a tough day there, but.
I think you already preview what the playoffs are going to look like for Mr. Truex.
I don't know. If your bracket and my bracket look anything alike, maybe. Alex Bowman gets in despite.
I sit here and say at the beginning that I have a couple surprises. We're going to have the exact same bracket. You know that?
Yeah, we probably will. Which is ridiculous. Well, we always think alike on these things.
Right.
So.
We always think we're being sneaky on the other one, and it's not. We're just.
I know.
Direction.
Yeah.
Michael McDowell gets a 17th place finish.
Yeah, that's a good run for Michael Mack. William Byron led a couple of laps up there, and I don't know. He looked faster than the 19th place finish that he got. But,
he looked decent, and especially in a Chevrolet to see that.
Yep. He's had a long rookie season, but it's been a good rookie season for him. Just a typical rookie season.
He's learning, Yeah, and he's still in a place. I mean, we're still hitting tracks. We're going to hit tracks that he's seen. In the playoffs, there's
see him at Vegas this week.
Yeah, you never know. He might sneak a win in yet. So
could
happen.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. Nobody else really sticks out to me. I thought Larson would be better, than his 14th place finish, but
yeah,
there's a lot of guys, some guys that had snuck into the top 10 there that normally don't. So when you've got McMurray and Newman and Menard taking some spots away, and Kenseth for that matter. So
Keselowski would not have been my pick to win that race.
No,
but as soon as he got on pit road before that debris caution, I saw him coming down the pit road when the caution came out. They didn't even talk about it on the TV. That was the one. I'll say again that this radio broadcast they do is awesome, but it forces them to miss things that they would normally see, and they never addressed that Keselowski pitted before the caution came out. And even when they mentioned that he had fresher tires later on, they never mentioned that he snuck in on that caution. And that as soon as I saw that, it's like, man, he's going to be tough if he gets the cautions in the right spot. And when that last one came out, it's like, yeah, there's Keselowski's got this thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and I was just looking at the rundown too. Clint Bowyer, I know we talked about him just a little bit, but he led a lot of laps again. So he's got to be
37 laps.
Well, between the Stewart-Haas guys, he led the most, 37, and Harvick led 22, and Kurt led 19.
Yeah.
Good grief. Those guys were up front. I guess I didn't realize those guys were all up front that much. I knew Bowyer was. Bowyer was making a lot of noise.
Yeah, he was running down the leader a lot and then led a lot of laps too.
Yeah,
so.
Bowyer was good. That could have been his race and if it had worked out a little bit differently, but all the Stewart-Haas guys again.
Kyle Busch had a weird thing happen. First of all, if you don't listen,
I was going to ask you about this.
If you don't listen to Dale Jr. Download, listen to the Dale Jr. Download, especially when they do when Junior does special stuff, these radio style broadcasts, especially. He got to drive the pace car this weekend at Indianapolis. I did not listen to the whole thing this week, but his talk about the pace car and not get any practice in the pace car because pace car practice was rained out along with everything else at the track all weekend long.
That's another thing we got to talk about too.
Yeah. Junior's podcast is great this week, so I highly recommend you listen to it. He talks about, and I was going to pull the audio, but I didn't get a chance to this week. He talks about him wanting Kyle to bump him on the pace laps, and he said Kyle hit him pretty good.
Yeah, it looked like it.
So, but Kyle was weaving on a caution, working the tires in, and he clipped the grass on the inside, and from that point on, he had steering issues. And that was it. I mean, Kyle was just like he went from a major contender to just kind of hanging out in the top 10 or back of the top 10 and was never heard from again the rest of the day. So that was really a weird deal.
Was that an honest mistake or was that because I think you and I have both witnessed Kyle Busch being bored at the time. Was that a Kyle Busch being bored thing or was that just an honest mistake?
I don't know. I feel like it probably was an honest mistake.
That's such a weird thing to happen.
Yeah. It's surprising they don't make contact and stuff more often when they're doing that, cleaning the tires off, though.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Those guys aren't going as slow as they look on TV.
No, and I mean, if the reason they're doing what they're doing is they're sliding the tires because that cleans the tires off.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're on the edge of control when they're doing that.
Yeah. Well, you try it when you're driving down I-75 at 75 miles an hour.
Yeah, because that's what they're doing.
That's seriously what they're doing. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, when you really think about it, and then Samantha Bush's wife was giving him a hard time.
That was good.
So
I like that. I mentioned the rain. It rained all weekend. There was no practice. There was no qualifying. Both the Xfinity race and the Cup race, the cars were on the track for the first time in the race.
On Monday.
Yeah, on Monday of all things. Even the dirt race that they ran, the sprint cars, which by the way, I don't know if you got to see that, James, but it looked awesome. Good too.
There was a really big wreck in there too.
Yeah.
I don't remember the driver's name, but he looked like he was 40 feet in the air.
Yeah. But they had all their B, C mains, all that stuff washed out. Managed to get the main event in. They ran it really late. I think it was like 2 a.m. when they finished up. But that racing was really good for what they had for a track. And you asked me, James, I don't remember if we talked about it on the podcast or we were talking off.
Did.
That track is there. That is a permanent track.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So they'll have more races throughout the year out there.
Yep,
that's
cool.
That is
a purpose-built facility. So
that's awesome.
I'll give Dale Jr. credit. He talked about that in his podcast this week. It is a purpose-built
Thanks, Dale
facility.
Jr.
Yep. So
I like that.
And that was Junior talked about. That was his first sprint car race. He'd never been to a sprint car race before, which is
oh my god,
amazes me. But when you think about these guys, I mean, he's raced his whole life.
Yeah.
And he didn't race dirt; he raced asphalt, so he's never been at a dirt track and gotten to enjoy it. He's too busy racing. So
maybe Smoke needs to get him in a truck at Eldora next year.
There you
go.
I'd be down for it. That'd be awesome. Awesome.
That would be cool.
Yeah. So NASCAR did a good job of getting everything off with no practice whatsoever, and yes. I personally think races are better with no practice anyway.
I do too. Yes, I'm glad we agree on that.
And I do give them credit. You know, I know there were people throwing shade on Twitter about the competition cautions, especially in the Cup race after they just ran an Xfinity race. These guys didn't get a single lap on the track. You got to throw a competition. This is one time I will vouch for the competition caution.
Yeah, especially at Indy where you have a very well documented history of tire issues.
Here's my problem with the competition.
You've got to look at them.
Here's my problem with the competition caution, though, James. I feel like they do it to where you can't fuel unless it's the competition caution to keep people from screwing with their strategy. But you can still screw with your strategy. My opinion is if it's a competition caution to check tire wear, they should be required to change all 4 tires.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. No, I agree with that.
Make everybody do the same thing. You don't have to give them their spots back. They can still do the pit crew thing and, race off pit road and all that stuff. But make them change all 4 tires. Don't let somebody stay out or whatever.
Yeah, we should be
that's
looking.
The point to it,
Yeah, we should be looking at the tires because, especially at Indy where you're going so fast, and we have, the 2008 thing's an outlier, but still we've had multiple tire issues at that track.
It's not just so fast either. The worst thing at a racetrack anywhere, there's a reason that there's no tracks that are shaped like Indianapolis. Square corners are bad because when you go straight through a square corner, first, there's a lot of load, and when you go straight through a square corner and you hit the wall, you're hitting a wall head on. Yeah, Homestead, if anybody remembers, when Homestead was built, was a mini Indianapolis, and they reconfigured it to round corners because people were getting hurt at Homestead.
Yeah, well, you think about some of the worst crashes at Charlotte and Atlanta and tracks like that. It's because of that weird front stretch they got.
That dog leg.
That's just another type of corner like Indy has.
Yep. Speaking of races that ran without... Okay, that's a terrible transition. Anyway, the Xfinity race ran earlier in the day. 10 o'clock in the morning, they started the Xfinity race. James, I don't know if you got a chance to watch this race.
A little bit. I saw enough.
Really? Are you going to hate on this race? This was the first best.
The first stage was good.
This was one of the best races in Indianapolis ever. I'm talking Indy 500s and everything. It was an excellent race.
It wasn't
Top
better.
10 best race ever.
It wasn't better than the Cup race. I'll say that.
Yes, it was. Now I will say I did not see the end. My recording cut off with 10 to go, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And by the
There's
time
a lot of straight lines. that was my view of it. It was a lot of single file.
But man, no, there were 3 wide, and
I don't know.
They were 3 wide in the corners at Indianapolis, James.
Maybe I'll go back.
Did you accidentally watch last year's race or 2 years ago?
No, I did not. No, I did not.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Did Elliott Sadler win the race, James?
No, he did not.
I don't know. Did Elliott? I know he lost the one. Did he ever win the Brickyard?
Elliott Sadler's lost a lot.
I know. Yeah, he has.
No, the end of that first stage is an all-timer though.
Yeah, oh yeah.
All-timer. Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah,
Can you imagine
wide
that was for the checkered flag?
I know.
That was the actual end.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was excited. It was like a Talladega or Daytona to me, to where I could not. I came home and watched it on my lunch, all right, and I had an hour to watch this entire race, and I skipped some parts. I skipped through every commercial, like trying to get through as much of it as possible before I went back to work. And I'll admit I stayed a little bit long so I could try to see the end of it, and then I lost the end. But I couldn't stop watching it. I couldn't skip through it because it was so good, I thought, personally.
Yeah, it's definitely a spectacle. I don't know. There's just.
I think it was the best case. It's the best case for the package, because I think every other race that they've run the package at, the All-Star race was good compared to Charlotte, but I think every other race that we've run this package at has not lived up to expectations, but at Indy it does.
Yeah, and maybe that's the case for it. And I'd be okay with them with them running this package at a Brickyard 400.
Well,
I'm not saying
they're that and 16 other tracks.
Yeah, probably. Oh God, I sure hope not. I sure hope not. I really do.
It's gonna happen.
The end of, if you compare the ending of both races for the checkered flag, I felt like the Cup race was just better than the Xfinity race.
Yeah,
and
I can't compare the end because I have not seen the end of
and
the
that's
Xfinity
not
race.
and that's just that's the problem with this whole aero package thing. It could be a personal preference thing on my part. I don't think I'm right. I don't think I'm wrong. I just think it's I don't know. Well, I just felt like it was a lot of single file.
I argued to Jeff Gluck this week because Jeff posted on Twitter something about what did you think of the last unrestricted Indy race or Brickyard race or whatever NASCAR race at.
Yeah, he was playing it up a little bit this week.
And he made I think he made a comment about manufactured racing in his column. And I responded back, it's like okay, I get we want more horsepower. We don't want these guys to be limited. Don't want them running wide open. I get all those arguments. Those arguments are great. We don't want manufactured racing is a terrible argument because all we do is manufactured racing. The only way to get rid of manufactured racing is to run them in a straight line, unrestricted with no rules. Otherwise,
throw out the rule book.
We close the circuit. We run them in a circle. We just manufacture racing. We just made a circle track. You put a spoiler on it. Oh, manufactured racing. Everything. This whole thing is manufactured racing. It doesn't matter what the rules are.
Right.
And it's designed for a certain type of racing, and so that argument sucks.
Yeah, and that's where I fall back on personal preference. Yeah. I don't know. It's like the eye test, and if you don't like what you see, what are you supposed to, how are you supposed to feel about it?
I figured out what my big concern is with it, James, and I'm sorry to cut you off.
Oh, you're fine. No, take it.
I just popped into my head what my concern is with it because I love it. I love the extra stuff. I love restrictor plate racing. But I think my big concern is what has happened at Bristol or what.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So my concern is that because we get this good racing with this package, that it completely desensitizes us to the point that this excellent racing now becomes good racing and anything else is just going to be horrible. So like I use Bristol as an example because we used to love the way Bristol was. And then they changed Bristol to try and make it better. And I have air quotes in the better. And they ruined it per se. And it's taken all these years for us to first get it back to where it's closer to what it used to be and to where we've forgotten what it used to be to where we're less desensitized to the fact they don't have to wreck each other to pass anymore. And that's what I'm afraid with this package. I don't want it to desensitize us. When you run too many restrictor plate races, suddenly every race is a restrictor plate race. And when you have that one race, like I think Pocono is a boring race, but I love that we have Pocono because you need to have these odd tracks that are different than everything else. And yeah, it's a snoozer sometimes, but that's NASCAR. I mean, that's
any sport.
Yeah, exactly. That's the turf that they're on that week. So if we try to make every track the same, we desensitize that, we take that away. And that's what I guess that's what I'm most concerned about this package because the racing is going to be better for the most part with this package.
Yeah, and this package, it looks good, and that's fine. But if we go with this package, we're eliminating, in my opinion, certain types of moments that we won't get back. Right. If this is what we go with, we're not getting them back. We're not getting Chicagoland anymore. Like that. That type of finish, that special finish, is not going to happen with this package. It's just not.
Well, Talladega and Daytona are a good example. If we don't have two cars side by side at the line, we're like, man, that was terrible. Like, if you don't get that every week with this package, if you start getting that every week with this package, when you don't get it, it's going to be awful. And so that's my concern. Is I don't want the gap from a great race to a bad race to be as big as it's going to be if all the races are great races except for some, it's hard to explain, but I think you know where I'm going.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And maybe, and maybe I'm wrong too. And maybe the moments just look different, maybe we get more of those 4 wide stage, stage finishes, but I don't know. It's just my personal preference. I mean, I've beat it to death on this podcast.
I know, me too. I hope the tapered spacer's the difference. I hope the tapered spacer makes it better than the restrictor plate.
Yeah.
And I think we've talked about it on here. I feel like the tapered spacer and this aero package is a test for just running smaller motors in the cars in the future.
Yeah.
So,
I really love the fact that we use the Xfinity series in this way, and I wish we did more. I wish we did more of it. This is the type of stuff we should be using in the Truck series and the Xfinity series. We need to see what these things are going to do more often. I'm glad that NASCAR uses it this way.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of almost wish
it's a proving ground.
I wish the Xfinity cars were closer to the Cup cars in that it would teach us a little bit more.
Exactly.
Than it does,
Yeah. It's just that the Xfinity Series isn't just a proving ground for talent. It's a proving ground for tech too.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you what, the best thing NASCAR did was the caution clock in the Truck Series. Don't get me wrong, the caution clock sucked, but they did it in the Truck Series. They tested in the Truck Series. It didn't work, and they said, let's try something different.
Yep.
If they didn't have the Truck Series, they couldn't have done it in the Truck Series. And so, I mean, I'm good with that. That's the way, NASCAR did a thing back in the day where they tested, the stupid tire rule where you could only change right side tires or left side tires and all that. It was a mess.
Oh, yeah.
But they tried it in the Truck Series, and it didn't work, and they scrapped it. So rather than try stuff there than try it in the Cup. I wanted to be finalized and ready to go when it goes to Cup, which is another thing that also worries me about this package, that I don't feel like it's ready yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it gives us the data. That's the thing, is we can see it in a real world example and take it from there. So
right. All right, let's run through. We spent more time on Indy than I expected, but let's run through the news because they're all kind of the same thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of news.
I'll pound through all these things real quick, and then we'll discuss it all as a whole. So after we recorded last week, first of all, let's hit this one real fast. This one I think will be quick. After we recorded last week, it was announced Kasey Kahne would not run the Brickyard 400 because of symptoms of exhaustion after Darlington. We found out since that he's going to miss at least 3 more races. Regan Smith is going to be driving the car. He drove it at Indy. People have asked Kahne, why don't you just hang it up now? You're retiring at the end of the season anyway. And Kahne says, no, it's not. I'm coming back. I want to finish out the season. So, anything else to say there?
Our drivers just more health conscious.
I think they're just more aware of. I'll tell you what.
The Dale Jr. effect.
If you haven't watched those Graham Norton clips on YouTube of the Dale Jr. interviews with him talking about concussions and stuff.
Yeah, those are very good.
Man, those are excellent. Junior.
And his book is coming out with Ryan McGee. There's an excerpt out on that too.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be buying that book for sure. So it's really interesting to see inside Junior's mind and how much he was thinking about it. I think people are these drivers are more aware of the stuff and how it affects them now.
Kasey,
I don't think they're any less strong than Dale Earnhardt or Jeff Bodine or those guys were.
Yeah, I just think it's so crazy to me that Kasey Kahne threw away any chance he had. Maybe throw away is not the right term. He's got to take care of his health first. I should say that. But by sitting this race out, and he threw away a chance at making the playoffs, and that's he was a long shot anyway. But
I don't think
the defending.
I mean, I'm sure he didn't take it lightly. It's not like he's just going.
No,
man, I'm a little tired today. I'm sure
absolutely not.
There was more to
something's must have been going on. And if I don't want to speculate either, but to take this extreme of a step, this must be something that he's been battling with for a while.
Right, for sure.
So, yeah, hopefully he gets better. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say. Regan Smith's a super sub. There he is. I think he's going to try to drive for every team in the series at some point, every car.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So, good to see him back in the Cup Series.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully Kasey gets better and he can finish out his retirement tour, on a strong note.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so silly season rumors are in full effect. We mentioned Jamie McMurray. He will not be back at Ganassi next year. Apparently, Ganassi has offered him some sort of ownership or management stake, but in the whole deal. But he will not. They would field a car for him in Daytona for the 500, but that's it. Trevor Bayne will not be returning to Roush Racing next year. And Matt DiBenedetto is not coming back to Go Fast Racing. Did I miss anything?
No, Matt DiBenedetto's betting on him. Well, there is one.
I know there's rumors of people going places, but this is it. That's finalized as far as people leaving.
Solid confirmations on everything and anything.
Right.
So let's go to the rumored side real quick. So we've got Kurt Busch going to the 1. Right. That's probably locked down.
Yeah.
And then Jack Roush said on Claire B. Lang's show yesterday, I believe.
Okay.
That they've got their driver for the 6 car almost signed. He's in negotiations, and rumors have it that it's Ryan Newman.
Why in the world? I mean,
such a good response.
Not like
You know who I would give a phone call to?
Who's that?
Matt DiBenedetto.
You think so?
Yeah, I think maybe why not?
I've heard rumors of Matt DiBenedetto to Stuart Haas.
No way. In the 41?
I've seen rumors.
That's a leap.
Yeah.
I would like to see it, though. I know, you know what? I would like to see it because if Eric Almirola can do what he's doing in that team, Matt DiBenedetto is very highly regarded. That is a good one.
There is something, you know. I mean,
it can't be Cole Custer. It cannot be Cole Custer in that 41 car. It cannot.
No. So I don't understand if you're Jack Roush, why is it not Matt Kenseth?
Maybe Matt's just done.
But he's not. I don't think he is. He was on Sirius the other day talking, and he was. I mean, Matt's pretty non-committal. He was non-committal last year when we knew he wasn't coming back, but he didn't seem like somebody who's going to be done. He seemed like somebody that's getting ready to sign something. So maybe he's going somewhere else. But
isn't silly season great?
I love it. I love it. So Trevor Bayne, what happens to Trevor Bayne? Is he done or is he going to Xfinity?
He's going to Xfinity Series somewhere.
What about
if he takes Advocare with him, I'm sure he'll end up at Junior Motorsports.
Yeah.
Something. Because Junior Motorsports isn't afraid to hire guys with sponsorship.
Yeah, I highly expect Jamie Mack to stay in the one car. It'll just be at Junior Motorsports instead.
That's a good call.
There you go. Oh no, Trevor Bayne. Sorry, not Jamie Mack. Never mind.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. No, isn't somebody else already got the one car?
I don't know. I'm all messed up right now because I accidentally hit escape a minute ago on my recording. So I'm hoping I didn't stop. It's still going, so I think we're good. But I'm hoping I didn't screw something up along the way.
Jesus.
So no, Jamie Mack. I don't know. What do you think about Jamie Mack? Do you think Jamie Mack's done, or you think he's going to go to Xfinity?
He's pretty washed. He should probably just hang it up.
I think he's. I
think
if
he wants to drive. You know, I don't know. There's nowhere for him to go.
Yeah, I mean that's the
unless
thing unless he goes to Xfinity or truck.
Well, you could do the Casey Kane, and you could go, you know, ride in the back for a full season with Go Fast Racing.
True. Are we set on that? Truex is going to Gibbs. Is that pretty much?
I think we got Truex to Gibbs. I'd put that. Yeah, and I put Suarez in the 95. Okay. Suarez sounds like he's out. Like that was at Indianapolis too.
Yeah.
Not official though, but he basically did the whole you got to talk to Joe Gibbs thing, which I don't know. I just think that's a mistake. Maybe not. I don't know. That's a tough one.
I know it's tough to say. And I saw a report today too that which this is not a surprise, but that Cole Pearn likely will go with Truex.
Oh, he's got to. You got to keep. Yeah, you got to do a package deal for both of them. Yeah. And I've told you probably on this podcast, like I think Cole Pearn's the prize. Like he's the prize. You get Truex to come along, but you get Cole Pearn. Like that's 1A, and then Truex is 1B.
Yeah, I agree.
I just feel like Joe Gibbs should have learned from the Joey Logano situation. I don't know. Don't give up on the young guys too soon, but maybe.
Yeah, but I don't know that.
It's a different sport now, though.
But is he giving up on Suarez? Suarez is still going to be a Joe Gibbs driver. He's Eric Jones in it is what he's doing. He's going over there to wait until Denny Hamlin's gone. That's what it is.
Yeah, well, that's what Chris Buescher's been doing for 3 full seasons now. He's been sitting up.
That's because Roush is terrible and they can't afford to put him in a car.
Right.
So I mean that's the difference. Joe Gibbs is in a place that they actually can field the car. There's just not one to field.
Yeah.
So I think
I guess it worked for Eric Jones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean that's the only spot he could go if he's gonna go to Gibbs. You either go back to the 19 when Truex goes. When Truex hangs it up, or wait for Denny Hamlin to go. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows?
That's a tough sell because
JGR Gibbs is going to keep enough of a hold on him to where he's got an option if he needs it.
They got too many roosters in the hen house at JGR. That's the problem.
Toyota, period.
Yeah, Toyota does too. Christopher Bell. I mean, they've developed all this talent and they've got no money to send him any.
We still got Bell got to go somewhere. So
yep, Bell's got to go and. There's probably more in the pipe.
Maybe Levine does well next year with Suarez, and they can add another team, and Bell can go there. Who knows? I mean, who knows what'll happen?
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the Chevy camp, it's they've got Hendrick and none of their teams are performing, and I guess I'd rather be in the Toyota camp.
That's the funny thing is it wasn't that long ago that we had a similar situation like this with Hendrick that like there was no place for people to go. I mean. Kyle Busch got pushed out so Junior could come in, and you had all these people that could go there. There was talk of Larson maybe wanting to, looking at Hendrick. And now then, like, in a year, Hendrick completely cleans the slate. It's all new drivers. You know
who had the best take on the Hendrick situation is Steve Letarte. I don't know if you listened. He was on Nate Ryan's podcast. I think it was last week. And he said Toyota came in and reinvented how to build these teams with sharing the engine program. He said, look at Ford. Ford's done the same thing. There's one engine shop. Toyota has one engine shop, and you go to Chevrolet, and they're all over the place.
Yep. Yeah, Chevy's problem isn't the Camaro.
I don't think so.
It's
I think
the teams.
It's
too many egos. So. They're not really going to work together yet.
And they've been and that's going to happen when you've been the power for so long. You're going to struggle. And now it's coming home to roost.
Yeah, it goes in cycles. It just does.
It does.
The way it
certainly does. So. Yeah, just back to silly season, man. I don't know. It's if Ryan Newman goes to that 6 car, I'm going to be upset.
If Ryan Newman goes to that 6 car, we're going to go right back to mediocrity in Roush Fenway. They had this brilliant week this week with Kenseth doing well. Kenseth has improved that car, and then we go back to might as well put Trevor Bayne back in it.
And last year was such a shining light for that team. Like, Ricky Stenhouse had a very good year.
Yeah.
And just, God. Anyway.
Hey, but Danica Patrick got to see a heck of a win on Sunday night.
How do you feel as a Bears?
I'll tip my hat to freaking Aaron Rodgers, who's just put a whooping on the Bears in the second half. Come on, man.
Full disclosure, Eric's a Bears fan. It drives me crazy as a Lions fan.
Well, how did the Lions do Monday night, James?
We both suck.
My team only lost by a couple points.
Yeah,
man.
But here's the thing: is I want the Lions to get beat like that every week until Matt Patricia gets fired. That is so. I was actually rooting for it, so I was okay with it.
Well, you got what you wanted.
I tell you what,
they got whooped on.
How do you feel as a Bears fan knowing that every time the Bears and Packers play, it's referred to as the Danica Bowl? Which
I was really, surprised it took as long as it did for them to start showing images of her. So.
Oh yeah, she was all excited on the old Instagram after the game. Jeez, Pete.
All right. God. Let's move on.
Okay, I thought we were done with it.
Are we done with silly season, James? I think we said all we could say.
I think so, yeah.
We pretty much just said we don't know. I mean,
yeah, we know what we know, and we can have fun guessing on what we don't know.
There you go. I brought back Do We Care this week, James, because yesterday NASCAR made an announcement, and there's more to this announcement than NASCAR has announced. At least I guess I haven't looked at the announcement because I knew this was there were rumblings of this ahead of time. I'm looking to see if there's anything. Yeah, there's nothing in here about what this is really about. Anyway, so NASCAR made an announcement yesterday. They have driver logos and hashtags for the playoff drivers this year that will run on the driver's door in front of the number on both sides, basically right between the contingency decals and the numbers. Do we care, James, first of all, and then we'll talk more about what this whole deal means.
I care because I'm going to get mad.
Okay, you care and you don't like it?
I don't like it.
Okay.
Because we're really reaching the kids with the big logos
the
on the
emojis.
On the
They're basically emojis.
Yeah, we're hip and cool with our big stickers of Ryan Blaney's face on the side of his car.
How about Clint Boyer's, which is a semi truck?
I don't understand what's going on. I
like Kyle Busch's bow. That's cool. I get it. I thought the Chase Elliott was a megaphone, but that's the Dawsonville horn.
Yes,
that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool to see the Happy Harvick logo back.
Yeah,
Austin Dillon's logo is cool.
All the other cars are running a giant Twitter logo.
Is that what they're doing?
With the NASCAR playout. It's basically a big promotion for Twitter.
Okay, so I read something on this, and I don't remember what the source was, so I don't know how credible this is, but it makes sense that this whole thing is a test to see, based on the new ownership model and sponsorship model and all this stuff, it's a test of the value of that portion of the car.
Makes sense.
They can use this and the hashtags to look at Twitter and see whether this portion of the car gives them this exposure, and it could be a future maybe partnership that helps with this ownership deal, sponsorship deal, and all that in the new system once they change entitlement sponsors. And
I'm not a believer in that.
It makes sense that if they're going to try something, it's a way to do it. I don't have an issue with it. I think it's okay.
I think Twitter gave somebody some money and they are using it as a promotional tool for the platform. Because I know they have a sponsorship and whatnot, or they have a partnership.
Yeah.
And whatnot. But
here's what I want to see them do in NASCAR. This would be I would be a giant fan of this, and if I still had played NASCAR 2003 and designed cars and stuff, I would design a couple to show what I'm talking about here. But previously, for a few years before Monster came along, we put the drivers' names on the front windshield of the car. And then when Monster came along, we said, no, we can't put them on the front. We got to put Monster on the front. So we started putting them on the back of the car. What I would like to see them do, I want to see them go back to the old late model days and run the name in a big font below the number on both doors.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Nice and big right there. Just the last name. Very visible to the drivers. Style. Oh, yeah. I think it would be freaking awesome. Nice, nice wide, italics font, and just, they could do some funny things with it, whatever, if they wanted to, but if they want to do freaking hashtags or whatever. But I would like to see that. I think it would give more identity for the driver on the car rather than just the number. So, But anyway.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
So we care about this because you care about this because you don't like it.
That's true. Yep.
I don't care.
I think it
about
looks stupid.
I don't care.
That's probably the hardest stance I've ever taken on the podcast. I think it's stupid.
So I want to go through these real quick. I do like a couple of these logos. I think Brad Keselowski's with the burnout and the American flag is cool. Austin Dillon's logo I just love in general.
Yeah, Austin Dillon does have a cool logo.
Harvick's I don't care so much for it. Chase Elliott's makes sense. Almirola's is dumb. Denny's is stupid. Blaney's is dumb. Clint's is dumb. Kyle's I like the bow. Eric Jones, dumb. Logano. Okay, the rest of them are dumb. But I like those ones.
Yeah. I do like Austin Dillon's logo.
Yeah, Austin Dillon's logo is sweet. Anybody that can do something cool with their initials like that is great.
I think Eric Almirola's got a cool logo too, the A squared.
Yeah,
I like that.
It's cool. I don't know.
If he drove the 2 car, it would be even better.
It'd be really cool, yeah. So, all right. James, it's time to talk about our brackets.
Oh, Jesus.
Let's talk about our chase brackets. Both James and I came up with chase brackets this week.
And our friend Todd.
As did Todd, who is a friend of the show and our loyal supporter on Patreon and everything else we do. So we appreciate that, Todd. Wow, I can't. Oh, no, I didn't spell this wrong. Whoever I downloaded this from spelled Harvick wrong. They spelled it Havrick on my bracket.
Did you see speaking of which, did you see all the spelling errors on the garage stalls?
Yes, that was great. Jeez.
Somebody needs a proofreader, man. That could be you.
James, it was raining when they put them up, so they probably blocked their eyes and they messed up when they put them up there.
A lot.
All right, so here we go. This is the top 16 in the playoffs, in case you've forgotten or been living under a rock. Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr., Brad Keselowski, Clint Bowyer, Joey Logano, Kurt Busch, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Eric Jones, Austin Dillon, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Eric Almirola, Jimmy Johnson, and Alex Bowman. Those are your top 16. Yes. Top 16 in the playoffs. Or you're only 16 in the playoffs. So let's talk round of 12. James, I think last year the way we did this is we each read a name and we marked it off whether we had it or not. So
yes.
Go ahead. Who's your number one first? I mean, this is no particular order, by the way.
Yeah, no particular order. So let me hold on. I was looking at Todd's list too.
Okay.
We can mention that at some point. I just made sure I had it pulled up on the old cellular device here. So now I've got my list.
Send it to you. He didn't send it to me. What a jerk.
I know. Well, he just trust me. That's okay.
What a jerk.
He probably would have thought you would have cheated or something.
Probably.
Okay. So let's see. So we're going round by round, right?
Yes.
Who's going through? Okay.
This is round 12.
Okay. So
just do one at a time. We'll do one. Yep. We'll go back and forth. Okay.
So I've got Harvick going to the next round.
Okay. So you got Harvick.
Yep.
I've got Kyle Busch.
Okay. I will go Truex.
Okay. That was mine. Brad Keselowski.
Okay. Kyle Busch. Or no, you said Kyle Busch. Kyle Larson. That's what I meant to say.
Okay.
Okay.
Clint Bowyer.
Okay. Kurt Busch.
Okay, Chase Elliott.
Okay. Joey Logano.
Yes, I have Joey Logano. Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, nice, Blaney. I'm going with Hamlin.
Okay.
Ooh, it's gonna get good now.
You had Larson. I have, how many we have right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right?
Yep.
I have, who do I have that's not up there? Did you, oh no, Eric Jones.
Okay, yep. I do not have Jones
Okay.
going through. That's one of my big upsets. Instead, I put Jimmy Johnson going through.
All right.
Which is kind of a reach this year, which is really weird. But
I have Jimmy Johnson not making it.
I cannot do it. I looked at it, and I couldn't eliminate him in the first round. I just don't believe that's going to happen.
I just think it is. I don't think he's going
all right.
on. He hasn't run well enough.
Very good. That's fine.
Is that all your guys?
That's all my guys. Yep.
I think that's all of mine. Pretty sure. Okay.
So we've got the first 4 out. So my first 4 out are Bowman, Dillon, Almirola, and this is kind of my upset is Eric Jones.
Okay. Yep. I have the exact same thing except I have Jimmy out.
Wow. Are you surprised? Are you surprised at my Eric Jones pick?
Yeah. Actually, why did you pick Eric Jones?
His first time in. I just kind of thought experience of Jimmy versus Jones. And the Roval kind of factored in just a little bit.
Have you watched this season? I mean,
I know. I just the Roval's going to be crazy.
I didn't think about the Roval.
And I thought about it as the eliminator, and I thought Jimmy's going to have, if it comes down to it, I'll take Chad and Jimmy to be smart enough to get through that race.
I don't think the Roval is going to matter. I think the cream's still going to rise to the top.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Yep, and I don't disagree with you. Because I think Vegas, we're going to see the normal customers up front. Richmond, probably the same thing. You'll probably see like a Keselowski or a Hamlin maybe get through there, and then the Roval's just a kind of a I feel like Roval's kind of a toss up, but
right.
Anyway, okay, so that's our first round.
Yeah, I'm gonna write down here which ones I don't have going on. So, because I'm trying to think of a good way to do this, so I can keep track.
You want Todd's first 4 out?
Yeah, who's Todd's first 4 out?
Todd's first 4 out: Dillon, Johnson, Almirola, and Bowman.
Dillon, Johnson,
so I think he's got the same as you.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Let's see. Is that really my next one? Okay. All right. First pick for round of 8.
You get to go first this time.
All right. I'm going Kyle Busch.
Okay, Kyle Busch. I'll go Kevin Harvick.
Okay. I will go Martin Truex Jr.
Right. I got Keselowski.
We're in the exact same order.
Yeah.
Joey Logano.
You've got Logano. Does anybody say we didn't say Larson yet, right?
Nope, we did not say Larson.
Okay. Larson.
Kurt Busch.
Okay. I have Chase Elliott.
So we have the exact same ones, huh?
Yep.
Okay. So I have falling out. I have Hamlin falling out. I have Eric Jones falling out, which is going to be the only one different from you. You have Johnson going. I have Blaney and Boyer falling out.
Yep. My 4 are Johnson, Hamlin, Blaney, Boyer.
So we both think Boyer's not going to make it to the round of 8.
I think this is the toughest round.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm picking Boyer not getting knocked out. Boyer, Blaney, and Hamlin, like that's going to be really hard.
Yeah.
And I don't know where Chase Elliott fits in on this. And Talladega's in there, so this is the hardest round.
This is the one round. I think the only sure thing for any of the ones that we picked. It's the Jones Johnson one. I don't think Jones or Johnson would make it past this point.
Now Todd's got a different 4 out than we do, which is good.
Who's Todd got falling out?
He's got Logano falling out with we have Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Larson going out.
Really?
So that's a good one. Yeah.
Huh.
So we got a little bit of different. We got a little bit of a different list going on here.
Okay, Logano, Kurt, Kyle Larson. Who else?
For Todd?
Yeah.
Logano, Kurt Busch, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin. Okay. So all of us don't have Denny Hamlin going through.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because he could win Talladega. He could win Talladega.
True.
He could be pretty good there. If he gets, what is kind of crazy? If he does get through here, and Martinsville is on the schedule, Hamlin could be a sneaky Final Four pick. He could be our bracket buster.
That is true. That is true.
Just kind of looking at.
I am really curious in the round of 4 because I thought at the beginning that you and I were going to be different, but based on our conversations today, we're not going to be. I think we're going to be the same.
We're going to be close.
So you go first.
Okay, so our round of 8. So we're going to our Final Four.
Final 4.
Okay, I'm going with Harvick.
Okay, I got Kyle Busch.
Kyle Larson.
Oh, see, we're different. I have Brad Keselowski.
Okay, I also have Keselowski.
My last one is Chase Elliott.
Oh.
I have Larson falling out and failing to make the top 4 again.
Uh-oh. You like Chase Elliott at Martinsville, I take it.
I like Chase Elliott at the end of the season, period.
Yeah.
I mean, he not only Martinsville, but you got ISM too.
Yeah.
So, and I think Chase has been good enough. And I think the one that knocks Larson out is not Chase Elliott. I think the one that knocks Larson out is Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, me too. Well, if anybody, and that's why I picked Brad Keselowski to go this far. He's turned it on, man. You can't deny it. And I had Kurt Busch going, but there's no reason for me to stick with that pick because, Brad Keselowski's been better, even though between the two of them, they've won the last 3 races, but Brad's been undeniable. So, yeah.
There you go. So here it is, James. Champion. We're going to agree on this one.
Do you want me to give you Todd's really quick? I'll give you Todd's
what's
really
Todd's
quick.
Final 4?
Todd's Final 4 are Harvick, Kyle Busch. He's also got Chase Elliott, and he went with Clint Bowyer getting through.
Interesting.
Yep. So his last 4 out are Truex, Keselowski, Blaney, and Jones.
Interesting.
Yeah, me and Todd are really different.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
It's good. I like that. Okay.
Who's Todd's champion?
Todd's champion is Kevin Harvick.
Who's your champion?
My champion is Kevin Harvick.
My champion is Kevin Harvick.
You just can't not pick him, right?
No, he's going to be the guy. It's his year.
He's just a smudge better than Kyle Busch.
If he doesn't win the championship this year, it's a disappointment.
Yep. And I'd say the same for Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
Those 2 guys, it's between those 2 guys, and whoever's going to lose that battle is going to be really disappointed, and as they should.
Yeah. I agree.
It's got to come down to him. Now, with Larson getting into the Final 4, I hate to do this every year. But if he gets there, man, I agree.
If he's there, he is.
It's going to be exciting.
He is a definite dark horse pick, if not more, to win the championship if Larson gets there. I just don't think he gets there.
I just don't know I think he gets to the Final 4. I just don't know if he can, I don't know.
Ask me a few weeks ago, and I would have said yeah, but they just haven't been good enough.
And I really wanted to put 2 Stewart Haas cars in the Final 4, but I just couldn't figure out how to get Bowyer or Kurt Busch there anymore.
Okay, here's a question for you.
Yes.
Bowyer or Kurt, who's the best option? Who's the best chance at being in the Final 4?
Well,
don't him and haw. Who's the best chance, James?
We know Kurt's leaving. I think Kurt's been a little bit better down the stretch.
I don't think Kurt leaving will affect him like Truex's team ending is going to affect Truex.
I think Kurt's kind of in his own realm.
I think if anything, it's going to encourage Kurt to do better. The fact that he's leaving.
Well, he's left situations before under weirder circumstances.
So you haven't answered the damn question, James.
I think Kurt Busch is just a little bit better.
I disagree. I think Boyer's got a better shot at getting the top.
And they're probably about the same. I don't
it is really close. It's really a close pick, but I'd go Bowyer over Busch. He's just consistently run. At least I don't know. He's consistently run better, but he has had better finishes.
I will say this: I think Kurt Busch has less knucklehead in him at this point.
Bowyer will do something stupid and cost. If Bowyer gets to the Final 4, he'll do something stupid in that race and have to speed on pit road and come down pit road 17 times like he did at Kentucky or whatever.
Yeah,
Chicago, wherever the heck it was.
He could be really good. I mean, he could be good at Martinsville if he can get through.
Imagine a Clint Bowyer championship.
Oh my God!
You want go back to the roots.
If Clint Bowyer won the championship, we'd never see him again.
No,
that'd be it. That'd be it.
Yeah, you're right. He'd never stop partying. He'd show up drunk to Daytona.
Yeah, he would implode like a dying star, and that'd be it. He would party himself into oblivion.
Here's what this would be: Clint Bowyer winning the championship.
There it is. Yep, exactly. Exactly.
All right.
That's good.
I think that's that.
I'm glad you wrote those down because I sure
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you should see my scribble. I had to scrounge for paper at the last minute because I forgot.
Very good. Okay, good.
All right, so we go to Las Vegas Motor Speedway this weekend as South Point Hotel and Casino 400, the first time at Vegas in the playoffs to start the playoffs. I don't know who's supposed to have the first pick. You're on the list as first pick, so I'll give you first pick, James.
Oh, okay. I think that's right.
I think it might be. I always like making you go first anyway.
Yeah, I know. That's okay. Man, he's had 4 races there. He's only led 1 lap, but his average finish is 9.2. I'll go Ryan Blaney just to see, maybe. I'll go a little bit out on a limb. I'll say Ryan Blaney.
All right, this could be...
That probably breaks my bracket, though, because he's...
I'm going to go really easy on this one, although it's really not. So I'm going to go with a big 3, but it's a big 3 that historically hasn't done well here, and that's Kyle Busch. I'm going to go Kyle Busch gets a win on his home track.
He could set the tone for his playoff run right here.
Yeah, he's only got 1 win at Vegas, but he's due. It definitely due to get it done.
Yeah,
although he'll probably do something boneheaded and cost himself right at the end. So
swerve into the grass or
something. Dark horse. I'm going to do an interesting dark horse here. I'm going to go. Let's see. I am going to just go out on a limb and blow up my bracket with my dark horse right away. And I'm going to say he kicked off the season by getting a win. Let's say Austin Dillon gets a win at Vegas, sneaks himself into the playoffs, and screws everybody up.
You know what? He has shown in the past. Last time he was in the playoffs, he was actually pretty good.
And he's been running well the last few weeks. So
I think he has pretty much said that they've been working on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what happens. Yep. I like that pick.
It'd be fun. I'd love to see something like that. I'd love to see somebody come in and win the first week out that we don't expect. An Almirola or Dillon or even a Jimmy Johnson. See Jimmy Johnson win and get in there.
Yeah, I would love nothing more than the last 3 races before Homestead to have 3 different winners, not Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick.
I agree.
That would be cool.
That would awesome.
Throw everything in such a freaking mess.
Yes.
So my dark horse, I liked your Austin Dillon pick. That was good. Dang, I don't even know where I want to pick now. The problem for me, too, sometimes is that I never know if Matt Kenseth or Trevor Bayne's running in that car anymore, so I feel like I shouldn't even.
Right.
I'll say Alex Bowman has a good run.
He's a
playoff driver. Let's see what you got, kid.
I was leaning that direction too. I was him and Han between Almirola and Dillon, but
he's not historically good there. There's really nothing to talk about historically wise, but he's only had 1 race there as he's probably had 2 races there in Hendrick equipment. I could look that up.
Right. James, I got a shout out this week, I think. I don't know did I shout out Liz Allison on the podcast?
You did.
I
remember that.
Okay.
Yes.
Just making sure.
Because it's a good Twitter follow, though. We should beef that one up again.
I know I shouted her out in my Twitter at Michigan, but I wasn't sure if I shouted it on the podcast. So if you guys haven't followed Liz Allison 28 on Twitter, she's got all kinds of awesome posts. She posts stuff from obviously this is Davey Allison's wife. She posts a lot of historical Davey Allison stuff when for the race weekend that for that particular track or whatever, and she's been going through some of his boxes of stuff which she for a long time couldn't go through. So she's been sharing a lot of that with the fans. It's been really cool. If you just, I have a Twitter feed column just devoted to her, so I can scroll through and grab some of the pictures that pop up. And she just put up Davey's birth certificate she found. So
yeah, I saw the stand-up cutout too today.
Yep.
Another one I stumbled across.
It's pretty awesome. So a lot of really cool stuff in there.
I got a good Bob Pockrass tweet.
All right.
I quote unquote, I wondered if there's any sense of urgency among drivers to win a title this year before potential drafting package could be in place for next year in select playoff races.
That's interesting.
And he wrote a column about it. Cup drivers, winning title before rules change. That's a classic Bob article, by the way. So go look at that one.
Oh, look at that. There's an Alan Kowicki find in Liz Allison stuff. So very cool. All right. Was that your shout out? You have any shout outs?
No, that's about it.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Anything else we should hit on before we head on out of here, James?
No, I'm excited for the playoffs. This is what it's all about.
Yeah.
This is probably my favorite part of the NASCAR season now. Over the last few years, like this is when it really matters. So, I like to see what happens. I really hope that our brackets get busted. I want to see some. I don't know. I want to see some good storylines. I want Austin Dillon to win a race.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think
I'm gonna be pulling for guys like that.
It was so tough to move through the different rounds in the bracket that it just shows how. I mean, there's 3 or 4 guys at the front that are like
that second tier is a log jam.
Yeah,
it's a log jam.
There's those Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick. They're gonna make it to at least the 8, and probably to the 4.
Yeah.
But
playoff points alone, they're solid.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you have weird winners in the round of 8, coming into the round of 4, they're going to be in the round of 4. So, yeah, it's a really interesting picture this year. I can't wait. Looking forward.
And there's really good drivers who aren't in the playoffs who could win races. Like Daniel Suarez is no joke.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
AJ Allmendinger could come in and win that Roval without a second thought. So there's going to be some weird stuff going on, I think, this year.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned William Byron. He's got a chance to sneak in there and get something too. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff can happen. That Roval is a huge question mark. So
yeah, and Talladega, Martinsville, we got some good ones, and we have Richmond in the playoffs for the first time. So we got 2 short tracks now in the playoffs, which I really like. I like that move.
There's not much here in the playoffs this year. I think they got a pretty good schedule this year.
Yeah, this is good. This is the best.
Man, I'm not looking forward to that race. I'm looking forward to all of them.
This is the most well balanced they've had. They've got 1 super speedway, 2 short tracks. Richmond's kind of a short track. It's borderline, and you got the road course with the Roval now. So, yeah, it's good.
Yep, good stuff. All right, James, where can they find you on social media during the week if they want to talk to you?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. Facebook podcast is on there at facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. You can find the podcast and more at thesuperspeedway.com. Show notes will be up there. There won't be any links to articles this week because I didn't have time to put them together, but definitely check that out. There's all kinds of notes and coverage of past races and all that stuff on there, so check it out. You can find the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and SoundCloud. If you like what we're doing and want to support us, become a patron at patreon.com/thesuperspeedway. We head to Vegas. It's playoff time for NASCAR. Can't wait to have some more excitement. I mean, we've got a good season as we've talked about already going so far. Let's hope it continues, huh, James?
Yes, sir. Let's do it. Let's go racing.
All right. Yeah, there we go. Let's go racing, guys. We'll talk to you next week.